Hello and welcome back to the Lego Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 speedrun tutorial. In this video, we are going to be going over both Deathly Hallows Part 1 and Part 2's story. We're not going to be going over much in the way of hub stuff because the vast majority of the hub stuff in this run is fairly self-explanatory. As you can see, we're starting out near the end of 7-1, and we're also going to be explaining levels and replay story, and and there's very little in levels that is much different from story. The only levels that we're going to be showcasing in this are going to be this level, 7-5 and 8-3. We're also going to be showing a bit of the hub movement following 8-2, specifically where the different items you need to give to the characters to trigger 8-3 are, and also a bit of the hub movement after 8-5 because that involves a little cool trick that I haven't actually shown off yet in this series. So without further ado, let's get into this. So right here will spawn as Harry and Hermione. You're going to swap player 2 to Ron and player 1 to Hermione. Grab the Deluminator light with Ron and then put it over there. Stand on here with Hermione and spam B. Now, as you can see, because I'm in replay story, I'm going to instantly take it out. But in normal story, you will take the time out to learn the Deluminator, and same with the bag there, and then you can run. But once the animations are done, you'll just progress with things. Once you're in here, you can't do the clip, because hitting the out of bounds trigger does not progress the story. So what you're going to do is you're going to leave Ron here, and you're going to destroy that flowers, and you're going to build this cloud. Now, with Ron, you're going to levitate this cloud to the right, keep it low, and put out all 3 of these fires. Once they're put out, drop Ron out, get onto Augmenti with Hermione, and put out the fires on this bag pad, and then use it. Once you've used it, levitate this pickaxe to carve out this swan. Hopefully it doesn't launch, which it did for me just now, but it didn't despawn. And then put it in place, and once it's in place, drop in player 2. Don't actually drop him out like I did. I was being dumb there. Get onto Augmenti and put out the fire on that. Put out other fires with Ron so they don't impede you. Once you pulled this out with Hermione, fill it up, and then levitate it over the flames and get on Deluminator with Ron. Once the flames are out, grab that light with Ron and put it out. Drop out Ron because immediately after, you're going to learn Apparition, and then there's going to be a forced cutscene skip that will happen after you learn Apparition, which we're not going to be able to show because I was doing that in replay story, as you can tell. But basically, that will lead into the diner fight, which we're not going to go over because the diner fight is fairly basic. All you need to know is that until you can throw things back at Dolohov, and I think the other one's Yaxley, I think, you're going to do this to gain the invincibility exploit from that. Anyway, up next is we're going to go over a part of 7-5, and that's going to be upon reaching the interior, as in the second floor, as in after the Three Brothers sequence. So to get to that, I have to go through the Three Brothers sequence. Yay! Okay, once in this section, you will spawn as Harry here. You will want to play as Hermione because you will not have super strength. So you're going to want to instead use this rune cabinet. There is a way to skip this room, but it is very inconsistent. Okay, I completely blanked on the pattern there. That was amazing. Actually, you know what? We're gonna go. So there is a way to skip this room. So basically, what you want to do is you want to jump onto this transition, and we messed it up that time. But basically, if you do this just right. Okay, it might be better to do it with player 2 dropped in. But basically, you want to jump onto this transition, and boom, if you get that launch, you'll end up here without having to do any of the puzzles in that room. It's not that consistent, but if you can get it, it will save a bunch of time because now I'm gonna go over the entirety of how to do this room without the transition launch. So basically, what you want to do is you want to use this rune cabinet, first of all. Only have one player dropped in, and make sure you get the pattern correct first try. My brain, I'm focused on explaining what to do, so I'm messing up stuff like that. Once these come out, you want to stand in a place where you're not going to run into them, and you want to levitate them. Once they're in, drop out, and open this as Ron. Trace this red outline as Ron. Come over here and grab Spectra Specs after blowing up that padlock. Come back here and build the Specs pieces that came out. Once this is built, use it as Ron to wipe away the spider webs, and then come over here and this skeleton leg should have come out. Levitate that flower piece, and then pick it up with Ron and come back and pick up the tooth with Hermione. Come along this way to where the cauldron is, and then drink it. And of course, once it's drunk, you can do exactly what it is that you do in replay story as if you had super strength, because now you technically do. But once again, I'm going to show this off. That is actually not that bad. It does require high FPS to get, so make sure you do that. And also, by the way, if you're doing 100% all crests, make sure before you come up here, you grab the Deluminator light with Ron, because trust me, if you forget this crest piece here, you're going to hate yourself later, because when you come back in free play, you'll have to do the Three Brothers section, and if you did get this crest piece, you otherwise would not need to. So that's what you need to know. So that's 7.5. Now I'm going to swap files to show the where the different items are, because it's not quite clear. Also, of note, for the hub movement for entering some of the levels, when you use the bag pad that you see, when you're using the bag pad to enter both 7.4 and 7.3 and 7.5, you're going to want to only have one player dropped in, because you're going to need to do a cutscene skip by dropping in once you use the bag pad. And entering 8.2, there is going to be a firework that you're going to want to put in place, and that one's going to have another forced cutscene skip. So those are worth keeping in mind. So right now I'm going to swap files and show you how to get into 8.3, and also a tiny bit of the start of 8.3. Alright, so after finishing 8.2, you're going to come down to this courtyard. Once here, you'll grab this cup with Harry, and you're going to come down here and grab flowers that are just off screen here with Hermione. Come down here to grab Flitwick's wand with Harry, give the flowers to McGonagall, and if you stand right here, by the way, you're going to get a cheeky token. Fun fact. But that's how you trigger 8.3. That's where all the different objects are, because I understand from watching some runs from some newer players that sometimes it can be a bit difficult locating those objects if you're not used to the game, so I just figured it would be best to show where they are. So anyway, I'm just going to wait out this cutscene, and then I'm going to show off a bit of an alternate start, because if you remember from the replay story and free play tutorial, there was a Lumos fly that you could do. Now, if you want, you can grab the red brick for fall rescue from the library for both any % and a no levels early run. It's just slower, so I would not recommend it. But yeah, all that's different in this level is just there is a clip at the start that you do, and it's bit of a complex freeze clip, so we're going to be going over that as well as goo jump. So you're going to want to clip Harry, because I found goo jump, by the way, to be a lot easier with Harry than with Luna. Maybe that's placebo, maybe it is a difference in their jump animations. Basically, it's an infinite freeze clip, and this one is one of the most inconsistent clips in the game. As you can see, he's going through, and then he's coming back out without going through enough. But once he's through, you're going to get onto Augmenti, and then you're going to keep going. Alternatively, if you find that too difficult, what you're going to do is you're going to do that with player 1 while player 2 puts out this fire. Once this fire's out, drop out player 2. And you're going to want to put these in this order. You're going to put the bird down there, cloud in the middle, and the sun all the way on the right. And then drop in to skip this cutscene. Build this with player 2 while player 1 waits here, and then grabs Spectre Specs. Drop out player 2, and then come up here and build the Specs object. Drop in player 2 to skip this cutscene, and then drop them out again because you're not going to need them. Get on to Reducto as you levitate the chisel and hammer in place. AKA it's despawning, that's amazing. Is it despawning again? This is wonderful. Okay. You're going to want to levitate the hammer to where it is and make sure it does not get stuck on the wall or do that weird despawn thing it did. Once that's done, use load up this log with Reducto and come along this way. Get onto Augmenti for what comes after Goo Jump. Now, since you don't have super strength, you can't pull this open, and building the strength potion takes a really long time, and I'm just not going to go over that in this. So there's a few setups for Goo Jump. I'm going to go over my setup. So basically, stand on this railing, and you want to aim and see where that brick is kind of sloped there, right after the next part of the railing over there. You kind of want to aim for the middle of it is what I try to do. So I try to jump there, and I overshot where I was supposed to land. So I try to jump from the edge of that railing, and you want to get a cutscene skip there, but Luna died, which meant I couldn't drop her in to get the cutscene skip. Anyway, then you can finish this out. Alternatively, you could make the strength potion if you're not too confident with Goo Jump, but I much prefer Goo Jump because it's a lot faster and it's not actually that hard. So that's Goo Jump. It's pretty simple, and I'd highly recommend going for it. Anyway, you can switch files again to show a small thing that you do on the way to 8.5, and also how to complete 8.5 normally, because we did not go over that in the replay story free play run. And you cannot use the out of bounds trigger for no levels early run because it won't progress the story. You're gonna have to do it for an 80% run, but we're gonna get into what's going on with 80% in the next video. Probably for year 8 in the video after that. I'm probably gonna split up 80% into a few videos. Anyway, switching files now. Anyway, so after entering this area, rather than doing the clip, which, by the way, you can't do because you're going to need to get Ron over there, and clipping Ron is a bad idea. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to drop out player 2, and you're going to use Lumos on this anchor. You're going to put it in place, and drop in, and then immediately drop out, because there's a small cutscene to skip. Build these pieces, and then use Wingardium on this winch, and when that cutscene starts, once again, drop in, and then drop out. Use this Lumos cabinet here, rune cabinet, Lumos cabinet, and then build this. Drop in to skip this, and then build the pieces of this thing. Get Harry onto focus, because you're going to need focus to complete this level. And come up here. Shoot that. And then get Ron onto Illuminator next to this lamp. grab the light and bring it down over to here. Drop out Ron, and then pick this up. Doesn't matter if you're playing Hermione or Harry now. Put it on top of here, and get onto Augmenti and fill this up. Use Wingardium on this wheel, and when the cutscene starts, just drop in player 2 to skip it. Wait for the fish to explode, and then pick up this barrel and take it to Snape, which will end the level and progress the story, which hitting a bounce trigger will not. Anyway, there's a... Anyway, after this, you basically just do the same hub movement as when you exited 5-3 from Dumbledore. You go up the stairs from Dumbledore's office, bounce on the spiderweb, do the Lumos animation, death cancel, but instead of going to the dormitories, you're going to be heading out to the grounds, and you're going to go into Hagrid's yard, which is where you'll enter 8-6, which you will, for no levels early at least, you will basically do it exactly the same as you would for Replay Store and Free Play because it's the last level to run. However, I figured that I might as well go through the way of completing the level without doing the out of bounds trigger. How does this go down? Well, it's very, very interesting. So, it's worth a look. So, first things first, you're going to spawn in, and you're going to be Ron and Hermione. Now, what you're going to want to do, you can build the explosive potion, but I'm not going to go over that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do this clip, same as I would. But instead of going to the out of bounds trigger, you're going to come up here and hit this cutscene trigger. Once that's done, you'll be in this loft. Use this Weasley box and then drop out Kingsley, because Kingsley's on player 2. Put the firework in place and skip this cutscene. Jump up here to get to build these pieces nice and early. Once they're built, get on Augmenti and come across and put out these fires here. Build the pieces of this weight, and then levitate it up onto this hook. Fall into the void, of course. No. Come across this bridge and jump past all these Death Eaters. If they hit you, just Lumos animation cancel to cancel the hurt animation. Now come down here. Now, there's a way to hit the Bellatrix fight clip trigger with quickly, and basically stand on this railing and then jump there. And that triggers the Bellatrix fight. Quickly swap to Kingsley and then back to Molly, and this prevents you from getting freeze. And then just start killing all the Death Eaters, and basically there is 3 waves of duels with Bellatrix that you're going to be doing. So we're gonna check back when we enter the Nagini fight. Anyway, once finishing out the last duel of the run, the reward for which is the Bellatrix the Strange token, you will be greeted by another cutscene, and you will enter this fight against Nagini. Now, basically, what's going to happen is there's going to be... Nagini will shoot some venom at you, and then there's going to be a bunch of spiders that will spawn. Just jump and shoot them, and there will be one more spider that spawns here. This one you can levitate, and you're going to twirl it and throw it at Nagini. You're going to repeat this 3 times, and as well, you notice there's some fire next to you. That fire. In the second wave, you will see that there will be some Dementors that spawn. I mean, Death Eaters, those are not Dementors, but in this wave, there are Dementors. In no levels early, you will, of course, have the Patronus Charm to fight them off with. However, in a any percent run, you will not have the Patronus Charm due to skipping that lesson. Anyway, once that's done, you're going to swap to... You're going to drop in Neville on player 2, and you're going to levitate that down, and you're going to attack with Neville. Afterwards, drop out player 2, and do this dueling with Harry. Make sure you're not on Harry or Ron. Get on Patronus, kill them, and yeah, basically, there's 3 waves of enemies, following which you will fight Voldemort with these quick time events. It's fairly straightforward. There is no category that actually goes through 100% all the way, except for 100%. And one of the nice things, and also I'm rerouting the full completion of this level into free play and using the out of bounds trigger in story instead for 100%. Also, if you get a Dementor's Kiss, you can Lumos animation cancel that as well. Anyway, once you've killed that last enemy, Harry and Voldemort will spawn, and you can do this quick time event, and that will kill Voldemort properly. This will properly conclude the story for you. Granted, for no levels earlier in an 80% run, it is perfectly fine to use the out of bounds trigger because that still counts as beating the level. So, with that, all that's left is to go over any percent, and if people are interested, I will also go over locations of crests, tokens, gold bricks, students in peril, and other important things related to 100%. So, and all crests, and which other categories, like all students in peril maybe, or all hub students in peril, which is a very interesting category. I routed it myself. I think the route could be better. But yeah, next video should be for the 5, 6, 7 segment of any percent, and then the video after that will be for 8. And I'll be going over a few different sub-routes one can take for the 5, 6, 7 section of any percent, as well as some of the important things you need to know about for year 8 in terms of any percent. So, anyway, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video.